The emergency klaxons were screaming again, and honestly I was getting tired of it. My name is Vec, Senior Communications Officer aboard the Galactic Union warship Harmony's Edge, and let me tell you something. When they named this bucket of bolts Harmony's Edge, they were being hilariously optimistic. There was no harmony here. Just panic, sweat that smelled like burnt copper, and the distinct possibility that we were all about to become cosmic dust. Vekek. Commander Thrin's voice crackled through my headset. Tell me you have reached someone, anyone, from the Allied fleets. I glanced at my console, which was lighting up like a festival display, except instead of celebration, each light represented another unanswered distress call. The Selthari? Gone. The Borum Collective? Retreating faster than a scalded grok. The Antarian Defense Force? They had sent back one message. Good luck, you are going to need it. Commander, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. The situation is, well, not good. Not good. Thrin's mandibles clicked together in that way that meant he was either furious or terrified. Probably both. Vekek, we have 17 enemy dreadnoughts bearing down on our position. Our shields are at 30%, and half the crew is praying to gods I do not even recognize. I need better than not good. Through the viewport I could see them, the Krell Armada. Massive, dark ships that looked like they had been designed by someone who really, truly hated the concept of mercy. They had appeared in our Sector 3 cycles ago and had been systematically dismantling every defense we threw at them. The Krell did not negotiate. They did not take prisoners. They just destroyed everything in their path and moved on, like a plague of mechanical locusts. Sir, my assistant, a young Plexian named Rin, whispered beside me. What about you know them? I froze. My fingers hovered over the console. Thrin must have heard because the comm line went silent for exactly 4 heartbeats. No, Thrin said finally. Absolutely not. Commander, Rin continued, because apparently he had decided today was a good day to develop courage. We have exhausted all conventional options. The Krell will be in firing range in 18 minutes. 17 of our ships are already crippled. We are out of time. You want to call the humans? Thrin's voice had gone very quiet, which was somehow worse than the yelling. The species that is banned from 4 different galactic councils. The ones who turned a mining dispute into a 3-month war because someone insulted their beverage preferences. Those humans? Yes, sir, Rin said. Those exact humans. I pulled up the restricted files, the ones marked with about 17 different security clearances and a warning label that read, use only in cases of absolute emergency, and even then, reconsider. The human contact protocols were buried under so much red tape that you would think they were made of antimatter. Humans had joined the Galactic Union 23 cycles ago, and in that time they had managed to horrify, impress, and confuse pretty much everyone. They were not the strongest species, not by a long shot. The Borum could lift small vehicles. They were not the smartest either. The Exelthari had them beat in pure computational ability. They were not even particularly fast. The Skrit could outrun them without breaking a sweat. But humans were dangerous in ways that made the rest of the galaxy deeply uncomfortable. Vekek, Thrin said slowly. If we do this, if we actually call them, we cannot take it back. You understand that? The humans do not do half measures. They will come, and they will bring everything. Sir, I said, watching another one of our cruisers explode into a ball of superheated plasma. Everything sounds pretty good right now. The silence stretched out. Another ship died. Then another. Do it, Thrin said. Contact the humans. And may the ancestors forgive us. My hands were shaking as I opened the emergency channel, the one that connected directly to human military command. The one that had a warning label that said, warning, response time unpredictable, methods unconventional, property damage likely. The channel crackled to life, and a voice answered almost immediately. A human voice, casual and relaxed, like they were answering a call about lunch plans instead of a desperate plea for survival. Human Defense Coordination. This is Officer Marcus Webb speaking. How can I help you today? I stared at the comm display. They had elevator music playing in the background. This is Senior Communications Officer Vek of the Galactic Union warship Harmony's Edge, I stammered. We are transmitting emergency priority code Omega-7. We are under attack by a Krell armada and require immediate military assistance. Our position is Sector 14, grid reference Gamma Theta 9. We have multiple casualties, significant damage to our fleet, and we estimate complete destruction in approximately 15 minutes. There was a pause. I could hear the human typing something. All right, got your position locked in, Marcus said, still sounding like he was discussing the weather. Krell, you said? The big ugly ships with too many guns and a serious attitude problem? Yes, I said. Yes, exactly those. Can you help us or not? Oh, we can help you, Marcus replied. I could hear the smile in his voice. Question is, do you really want us to? What kind of question is that? I snapped. We are about to die. Right. Just making sure, Marcus said. Because when we show up, things tend to get a little, well, chaotic. We have had complaints. Several complaints, actually. Something about excessive force and unnecessary property damage and allegedly traumatizing an entire diplomatic corps. We are being shot at by dreadnoughts. I shouted. I think we can handle a little chaos. Your funeral, Marcus said cheerfully. Or rather, not your funeral. That is kind of the point. Hold tight. Cavalry is on the way. ETA 12 minutes. The channel went quiet. 12 minutes? Rin said. We are 3 sectors away from the nearest human outpost. That is impossible. That is what worries me, I muttered. I opened a channel to Commander Thrin. Sir, the humans are responding. They said 12 minutes. 12? Thrin sounded skeptical. They must mean hours. Or they are using some kind of human time measurement that makes no sense. Sir, with respect, nothing about humans makes sense. Another explosion rocked our ship. The shields were down to 22%. The Krell were closing in, their weapons charging for another volley. I watched our tactical display as 3 more Allied vessels went dark. All ships. Thrin's voice boomed across the fleet channel. Focus all remaining power to forward shields. Concentrate fire on the lead dreadnought. We need to buy time. It was a desperate plan. We all knew it. The Krell lead ship alone massed more than our entire remaining fleet combined. But what else could we do? The minutes crawled by. Each second felt like an eternity. The Krell were taking their time now, savoring their victory. Their weapons glowed with charging energy. I could see my own reflection in the console. My scales had gone pale, my eyes were too wide. Vek, Rin said quietly. Do you think they are really coming? I do not know, I admitted. But I suppose we will find out very soon. The tactical display started going crazy. Alarms shrieked. Our sensors were detecting something, multiple somethings, dropping out of faster-than-light travel right on top of our position. What in the name of all the stars? Our sensor officer, a Selthari named Creeks, shouted. That is impossible. Nothing can jump that close to a gravity well without tearing itself apart. The view screen lit up, and I felt my jaw drop. Ships. Human ships. Dozens of them. They had not jumped in from a safe distance and traveled to us. No, they had appeared right in the middle of the battle, in between us and the Krell Armada, in a position that should have killed them all from gravitational shear alone. But there they were, and they were not even smoking. The human vessels were smaller than the Krell dreadnoughts, but they moved like living things, twisting, spinning, dancing through space in patterns that made my eyes hurt. Their ships were not beautiful like ours, all smooth lines and elegant curves. Human ships looked like they had been built in a hurry by someone who valued function over form. Angular, brutal, covered in weapons that probably violated 6 different galactic treaties. This is Captain Jennifer Rourke of the UNS Relentless. A new voice came through the comm. Sorry we are late. Traffic was murder. Traffic? I said weakly. You just appeared out of nowhere. Yeah, we have been working on that, Captain Rourke said. Turns out if you do not care about safety regulations or physics, you can shave a lot of time off your travel. Now let us see about your Krell problem. The human fleet opened fire, and suddenly I understood why the galaxy was afraid of these people. Human weapons were not elegant. They did not use carefully calibrated energy beams or precisely targeted plasma bursts. They used kinetic projectiles. Lots of them. Thousands of them. Railgun rounds that moved at a significant fraction of light speed. Missiles that zigged and zagged and zagged and seemed to have a personal vendetta against their targets. And they used them with absolutely no restraint whatsoever. The space between us and the Krell lit up like a sun going supernova. The Krell dreadnoughts tried to return fire, but the human ships were already gone, having moved before the Krell could even lock on. They fought like a swarm of angry insects, never staying still, always attacking from a different angle. By the ancestors, Commander Thrin breathed over the comm. They are insane. Yes, sir, I agreed. Completely insane. One of the human destroyers. A ship maybe a third the size of a Krell dreadnought, accelerated directly toward the enemy flagship. The Krell concentrated all their fire on it. The human ship took hit after hit, its shields flaring, armor plating flying off. It did not stop. What are they doing? Rin shouted. They are going to ram it. No, I said, watching the tactical display with horror and fascination. They are going to do something worse. At the last possible second, the human ship twisted, fired its thrusters at full burn, and scraped along the side of the Krell dreadnought. As it passed, it launched every single weapon it had directly into the dreadnought's hull at point-blank range. The Krell ship broke in half. Target down, the destroyer captain reported calmly, moving to next hostile. Also, we are venting atmosphere from decks 4 through 9 and the port side is kind of on fire, but we are good. You are on fire? Captain Rourke asked. Lieutenant Davis, how are you on fire in the vacuum of space? It is complicated, ma'am, Davis replied. But in my defense, it is working. The Krell were regrouping now, forming a defensive sphere, concentrating their fire. They had numbers and firepower. This should have been where they won. Except humans did not fight fair. All ships, Captain Rourke ordered. Execute Pattern Gamma 7. What is Pattern Gamma 7? I asked, though I was not sure I wanted to know. The human fleet split into 3 groups. One group accelerated straight at the Krell, weapons blazing. The Krell focused on them, naturally. Why would you not focus on the threat directly in front of you? While the Krell were distracted, the other 2 groups looped around, accelerating to speeds that should have liquefied their crews and hit the Krell formation from the sides. But it was not just the attack that was devastating. It was what they were firing. Are those nuclear weapons? Kurix shouted. They are using nuclear weapons in space combat? Technically, they are enhanced thermonuclear devices with a shaped plasma charge, Captain Rourke said helpfully. But yes, basically nukes. Lots of them. The Krell defensive sphere collapsed into chaos. Human ships were everywhere, moving too fast, hitting too hard, using weapons that no sane species would deploy in close quarters. One destroyer literally flew through the explosion of its own missile to get a better firing angle on a Krell cruiser. This is insane, Commander Thrin said. This is absolutely insane. Sir, I said, they are winning. And they were. In less than 8 minutes, the human fleet had torn through the Krell armada like it was made of tissue paper. The remaining Krell ships were trying to retreat, their engines glowing as they desperately attempted to jump to faster-than-light travel. Oh no, you do not, Captain Rourke said. Nobody shoots at our friends and just leaves. All ships, full pursuit. Let us send them a message. Captain, I transmitted. You have done enough. The threat is neutralized. You do not need to pursue them. Officer Vecca, Captain Rourke replied. With all due respect, yes, we do. Because if we let them go, they will tell their friends that they can attack Union ships and get away with it. We need to make sure they understand that is a very bad idea. The human ships gave chase. The Krell had a head start, but the humans were faster. I watched on our long-range sensors as the human fleet caught up with the fleeing Krell vessels. What happened next was not a battle. It was a statement. When it was over, there were no Krell ships left. Not fleeing, not damaged, not even debris. The humans had been thorough. Threat eliminated, Captain Rourke reported. Union fleet. What is your status? We are stable, Commander Thrin said. He sounded dazed. Significant damage, many casualties, but we will survive. Thanks to you. Happy to help, Captain Rourke said. We are transmitting our medical teams to your ships. Our doctors are pretty good with alien physiology. Weird fact, human medicine is either completely useless or surprisingly effective on other species. No middle ground. Why? I asked. No idea, Captain Rourke admitted. But hey, it works. We will also send some repair crews. Fair warning, they will probably fix things in ways that violate your engineering principles, but the repairs will hold. Over the next hour, human personnel swarmed over our damaged ships. They moved with purpose, with energy, with a kind of manic efficiency that was both impressive and slightly terrifying. Their medics saved lives that we thought were lost. Their engineers patched holes in our hulls using techniques that made our technicians weep. And they did it all while cracking jokes and complaining about everything. I met Captain Rourke in person when she came aboard the Harmony's Edge. She was tall, even for a human, with dark skin and eyes that seemed to take in everything at once. She looked at our damaged bridge and whistled. You folks really took a beating, she said. Good thing you called when you did. Captain, Commander Thrin said. He had pulled himself up to his full height, which was still shorter than Rourke. I do not know how to properly thank you. You saved our lives. You saved our fleet. All in a day's work, Rourke said, grinning. Besides, we owe you guys. You gave us a chance when we first joined the Union. A lot of species wanted to keep us out, but you voted to let us in. We remember that. I am curious, I said. How did you get here so fast? And how did you jump so close to the battle? That should be impossible. Rourke's grin widened. You know what humans say about the word impossible? What? What? It just means nobody has been stupid enough to try it yet. She pulled out a small device and showed us schematics that made our heads hurt. We call it the reckless jump drive. It ignores about 40% of standard safety protocols and runs a 30% chance of catastrophic failure every time we use it. 30%? Thrin said weakly. That is terrifyingly high. Yeah, Rourke agreed. But it also means we can show up anywhere, anytime, faster than anyone expects. In war, surprise is worth the risk. You are all crazy, I said. Probably, Rourke admitted. But we are your kind of crazy. And that is what matters. She was right. Looking at the human crews working alongside our people, laughing and joking even as they pulled survivors from wreckage, I realized something. Humans were dangerous, yes. Reckless, absolutely. Insane, without question. But they were also exactly what the galaxy needed. Captain, I said. What happens now? Rourke looked out the viewport at the stars. Now? Now the Krell know they made a mistake. They thought they could push us around, thought we were weak. We just taught them otherwise. Word will spread. And maybe, just maybe, the next hostile force will think twice before attacking Union ships. And if they do not, her smile turned cold. Then we will teach them again, as many times as it takes. As the human ships prepared to leave, I sent a message to Galactic Command. A simple report about what had happened here, about how the humans had saved us. I knew what would happen. There would be meetings, debates, probably some council members would complain about human methods. Too violent, Too risky, too unpredictable. But I also knew something else. The next time we were in trouble, the next time any Union ship was in danger, they would call the humans. Because sometimes you did not need the safest option. Sometimes you needed the most dangerous species in the galaxy on your side. And that was exactly what we had. 3 days after the battle, I was sitting in a conference room aboard the Union flagship Eternal Vigilance, and I wanted to be literally anywhere else. The room was full of diplomats, council members, and military brass from a dozen different species. Everyone was talking at once, which was normal. What was not normal was the level of sheer panic in their voices. They used nuclear weapons. Ambassador Telcor, a Selthari with a voice like grinding metal, slammed his appendage on the table. Nuclear weapons. In close quarters. The radiation alone could have killed half our fleet. But it did not, I pointed out. In fact, the humans shielded us from the worst of it. Their ships took the radiation hits. That is not the point. Telcor screeched. The point is that they are reckless, dangerous, and completely unpredictable. We cannot have them as our primary defense force. Who said anything about primary? Commander Thrin asked calmly. He was sitting next to me, looking far more relaxed than he had any right to be. They responded to an emergency call. They saved our lives. Why are we treating them like criminals? Because they are criminals. This came from Council Member Brix, a Boruum with a face like a smashed fruit. Have you read their file? Bar fights on 6 different stations, unauthorized weapon modifications, 17 violations of the Weapons Treaty, and let us not forget the incident on Praxis Station where they turned a cargo bay into something they called a racing track. That last one sounds fun, actually, Thrin muttered. I bit back a laugh. 3 days ago, Thrin had been terrified of calling the humans. Now he was defending them. Funny how nearly dying changes your perspective. The facts are simple, I said, standing up. The Krell attacked us. Our allies abandoned us. The humans came. The humans won. We are alive because of them. Everything else is just noise. Noise? Telcor's voice went up an octave. Officer Vek, do you have any idea what you have unleashed? The humans are already talking about permanent defense patrols, joint military exercises, increased cooperation. They want access to our strategic databases. So, I asked, they are our allies. That is what allies do. They are dangerous, Brix shouted. They fight like animals. They take risks that would make a suicide squad blush, and worst of all, they enjoy it. I watched the combat footage. Their pilots were laughing while dodging dreadnought fire. Yes, Thrin said quietly. They were. And that is exactly why we need them. The room went silent. Everyone stared at Thrin. You think the Krell were the only threat out there? Thrin continued. The galaxy is getting more dangerous every cycle. Pirates, warlords, rogue states, things we have not even encountered yet. We need allies who will not run when things get bad. The humans do not run. They never run. They also never stop, Telcor said. Do you know what they did after they destroyed the Krell fleet? They tracked down the Krell staging area, a hidden base 3 sectors away. They found it, they destroyed it, and then they sent the coordinates to us with a message that said, "You are welcome, here is where they were coming from." We took care of it. Again, I said. So what? They eliminated a threat, without authorization, without oversight. They just decided to go to war and did it. Yeah, a new voice said from the doorway. We did. Everyone turned. Captain Rourke was standing there, still in her combat uniform, looking completely unconcerned about interrupting a high-level diplomatic meeting. Behind her stood 2 other humans, a short woman with bright red hair and a tall man who looked like he could bench press a small vehicle. Captain Rourke, Telcor said coldly. This is a closed session. Weird because the door was open, Rourke said, walking in like she owned the place. And I heard my name, so I figured I should probably be here. This is highly irregular. Brick sputtered. So was dying. Rourke shot back. But Vecchi and his crew did not seem to mind the irregularity when we showed up. The red-haired woman stepped forward. Captain Alison Torres, OUN's Vindictive. And before anyone asks, yes, we named our ship Vindictive on purpose. Sets the right tone. The large man nodded. Commander Paulo Enduma, OUN's Defiant. We brought snacks. He held up a container. Human cookies. Chocolate chip. They are great. We are not here to eat cookies. Telcor shrieked. Your loss, Enduma said, taking one for himself. Rourke sat down at the table, uninvited. Torres and Enduma followed. The council members looked like they were about to have collective aneurysms. Let me make this simple, Rourke said. You folks have a problem. The galaxy is dangerous, your traditional allies are unreliable, and threats like the Krell are getting bolder. You need someone who can handle the dirty work. That is us. We do not need attack dogs, Telcor said. No, you need wolves, Torres corrected. Big difference. Dogs do what they are told. Wolves hunt in packs, protect their territory, and tear apart anything that threatens their family. We consider the Union our pack now. How touching, Brick said sarcastically. But your methods are unacceptable. Unacceptable to who? Enduma asked around a mouthful of cookie. The Krell? Because they seem pretty accepting right now. Mostly because they are dead, but still. I watched the council members' faces turn various shades of angry purple. This was going well. Perhaps we should focus on practical matters, Thrin suggested diplomatically. The humans have proven effective. The question is how we integrate them into our defense structure. There is nothing to integrate, Rourke said. We are already integrated. We have been running joint patrols with your border fleets for the past 2 days. Your crews love us, by the way. We taught them poker. You what? Telcor looked horrified. Relax, we only took a little of their money, Torres said. Think of it as cultural exchange. My communicator buzzed. I glanced down and saw an urgent message from our intelligence division. My scales went cold. Commander, I said quietly to Thrin. We have a problem. Another one? Thrin sighed. What now? Krell reinforcements, I said, reading the message. A massive fleet. 3 times the size of the one that attacked us. They are gathering at the outer rim. Intelligence estimates they will reach Union space in 48 hours. The room went silent. Even the humans stopped eating cookies. 3 times the size? Brick said weakly. That is over 50 dreadnoughts, plus support vessels. We cannot fight that, even with the humans. Sure we can, Rourke said. She did not sound worried. She sounded excited. We just need a good plan. A good plan? Telcor laughed bitterly. Captain, there is no plan that can overcome those odds. Not with that attitude, Torres said. But we are humans. We specialize in bad odds. This is suicide, Brick said. We need to evacuate the border colonies, pull back our fleets, establish a defensive perimeter deeper in Union space. So you want to abandon millions of people? Enduma asked. His voice had lost its friendly tone. Just leave them to the Krell? We do not have a choice, Brick shouted. We cannot win. You are right, Rourke said, standing up. You cannot win, but we can, if you let us. What are you proposing? Thrin asked. Rourke smiled, and it was the kind of smile that probably made admirals nervous. We do what humans do best. We cheat. Over the next 6 hours, Rourke laid out the most insane battle plan I had ever heard. It involved every human ship in the sector, half the Union fleet, more explosives than should legally exist, and something she called Operation Angry Hornet. You want to use our ships as bait, Telcor said slowly, while your fleet hides in the asteroid field and waits to ambush them. Basically, yes, Rourke confirmed. The Krell think they have overwhelming force. They will be confident. maybe overconfident. They will see your fleet and think it is an easy victory. Then we hit them from behind. And if they detect you? Rix asked. They will not, Torres said confidently. We have been practicing stealth operations. Turns out if you shut down most of your systems and drift like a rock, sensors have a hard time picking you up. That sounds dangerous, I said. Oh, it is super dangerous, Torres agreed. But also hilarious when it works? What about their numbers advantage? Thrin asked. Even with an ambush, they still outnumber us significantly. That is where the fun part comes in, Rourke said, pulling up a holographic display. See these asteroids? We are going to rig them with explosives. A lot of explosives. When the Krell fleet enters the field, we turn the entire asteroid belt into the galaxy's largest minefield. That is going to destroy the asteroids, I pointed out. Yes, and? Rourke looked confused. Those asteroids are valuable mining resources. Vekka, buddy, I say this with love. Who cares? We can find more rocks. We cannot find more of you folks. Thrin was studying the plan carefully. This could work, he said slowly. It is insane, dangerous, and violates about 30 different engagement protocols. But it could work. That is the spirit. Enduma said, offering him a cookie. The council debated for another hour, but in the end they did not have a choice. The Krell were coming. We either tried Rourke's plan or we ran, and I think everyone in that room was tired of running. Fine, Telcor said finally. We will do it your way. But if this goes wrong, if we lose ships because of your recklessness, there will be consequences. If this goes wrong, we will all be dead, Torres pointed out. So consequences will not really matter. That is not reassuring. Was not trying to be reassuring. Was trying to be accurate. The next 48 hours were chaos. The good kind of chaos, if there is such a thing. Human engineers swarmed the asteroid field, planting enough explosives to crack a moon. Union ships were positioned in a defensive formation that looked vulnerable, but was actually carefully calculated to draw the Krell in. The human fleet went dark, drifting among the asteroids like ghosts. I was back on the Harmony's edge, which had been repaired enough to fight. Rin was beside me, nervously checking our systems for the 100th time. Do you think this will work? He asked. I have no idea, I admitted. But I trust the humans to try something ridiculous. That is not reassuring either. I know. Our sensors picked up the Krell fleet at 47 hours and 32 minutes. They were exactly on schedule, which was somehow more terrifying. 53 dreadnoughts, over 100 support vessels, and enough firepower to glass a planet. All Union ships, this is Commander Thrin, the fleet-wide comm crackled. You know the plan. Hold your positions, make them think we are desperate. Do not break formation until the humans give the signal. What is the signal? Someone asked. Why, Tay. Trust me, Thrin said. You will know it when you see it. The Krell entered the asteroid field slowly, cautiously. They had learned from the first battle. They were not underestimating us anymore. Their formation was tight, their shields were at maximum, their weapons were charged. They looked ready for anything, except for what happened next. Union fleet? This is Captain Rourke. The comms suddenly blared at maximum volume. Light them up. The asteroids exploded, all of them, simultaneously. The entire belt turned into a storm of fire and shrapnel moving at relativistic speeds. Krell ships that had been confidently advancing suddenly found themselves in a meat grinder. And then the human fleet came alive. Engines roared to life. Weapons systems went hot. Dozens of human warships that had been playing dead suddenly became very, very active. They hit the Krell from behind, from the sides, from above and below. Surprise. Torres shouted over the comm. Miss us? The battle was absolute madness. The Krell tried to form a defensive position, but they were scattered by the asteroid explosions. Human ships darted between the debris, using the chaos as cover. Union vessels pressed forward, no longer pretending to be weak. A Krell dreadnought managed to lock onto the Harmony's edge. Its weapons charged, targeting systems locked. Evasive maneuvers. I shouted. We were not fast enough. The blast was coming, we were dead, this was it. A human destroyer, the UN's Stubborn, threw itself between us and the blast. The ship took the full hit, its shields collapsing, armor buckling. Stubborn, are you all right? I transmitted frantically. Oh, we are peachy, the destroyer's captain replied. His ship was literally on fire in 3 places. Just a scratch. Get that dreadnought for us, will you? We did. The Harmony's Edge and 2 other Union cruisers concentrated fire on the Krell ship until it broke apart. Scratch settled. I told Stubborn's captain. Appreciated. Now, if you will excuse us, we are going to go ram something. You are what? But the Stubborn was already accelerating toward another Krell vessel, and I decided I did not want to know. The battle raged for 3 hours. The Krell fought hard, they were not cowards. But they had walked into a trap designed by humans, and humans were really, really good at traps. When it was over, the Krell fleet was destroyed. Completely. Again. The Union had lost 7 ships, which was a miracle considering the odds. The humans had lost 3, which was also a miracle considering how they fought. All hostile forces eliminated, Captain Rourke reported. She sounded tired but satisfied. Union space is secure. The comm channels erupted in cheers. Ships from a dozen different species, celebrating together. I heard someone start singing badly and others joined in. Rin was laughing and crying at the same time. We won, he kept saying. We actually won. Yeah, I said, watching the human ships regroup. We did. 3 days later, I was back in another conference room. Same diplomats, same council members, very different atmosphere. The humans have submitted a formal proposal, Telcor said. He did not sound angry anymore, just tired. They want to establish a permanent rapid response force, a joint command between human and Union officers, authority to respond to threats without waiting for council approval. And? Thrin asked. And I think we should accept, Telcor said quietly. I was wrong. We need them. Brix nodded slowly. I agree. But we need to establish some ground rules, some oversight. We cannot just let them run wild. Good luck with that, I muttered. The proposal passed unanimously. For the first time in Galactic Union history, a decision was made quickly and without 17 subcommittees. A week later, I met Captain Rourke one final time before her fleet left the sector. We were in an observation lounge aboard the Eternal Vigilance, watching the stars. So you are officially part of our defense structure now, I said. How does it feel? Terrifying, Rourke admitted. You are giving us a lot of responsibility, a lot of trust. You earned it. Maybe. She was quiet for a moment. Can I tell you a secret, Vek? Sure. We are scared too. Every time we fight, every time we take those risks, we are terrified. But we learned something a long time ago, back on Earth. Fear is not the problem. Letting fear stop you, that is the problem. Is that a human saying? More or less. We have a lot of sayings. Most of them involve cursing and bad decisions. I laughed. That sounds about right. Rourke turned to look at me. Thank you for calling us, for trusting us when everyone else said not to. It means a lot. Thank you for answering, I replied. For being exactly as crazy as we needed. She grinned. Crazy is what we do best. As I watched the human fleet depart, I thought about how much had changed in just 2 weeks. The galaxy had learned that the Union had teeth now. Sharp, unpredictable, slightly unhinged teeth, but teeth nonetheless. The Krell would not be back. Word had spread about what happened to their fleets. Other hostile forces were reconsidering their plans. The border colonies were safe, all because we had made one desperate call to the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Rin joined me at the viewport. Do you think we will need them again? he asked. Mare asked. Probably, I said. The galaxy is a dangerous place. Good thing we have dangerous friends then. Yeah, I agreed, smiling. Good thing indeed. In the distance, the last human ship jumped to faster-than-light travel, probably using that terrifying jump drive of theirs, probably ignoring 17 safety protocols, probably laughing the whole way. And you know what? I would not have it any other way. Because sometimes, the best hope you have is not the safest option or the most reasonable choice or the most predictable ally. Sometimes, the best hope you have is a species that looks at impossible odds and says, "Hold my beer, watch this." The humans had taught us something important, something that would change the Union forever. They taught us that it is okay to be dangerous, as long as you are dangerous to the right people. They taught us that sometimes the most terrifying weapon in your arsenal is not a gun or a bomb or a fleet of warships. It is the absolute, unshakable certainty that you will never, ever give up. They taught us that when things look darkest, when all hope seems lost, when the galaxy itself seems to be against you, the correct response is not to surrender. The correct response is to call for backup, and then make the enemy regret ever showing up. As I walked back to my station, I passed a group of human technicians working alongside our engineers. They were arguing about the best way to modify our shield generators, laughing and joking, probably violating a dozen regulations. One of them saw me and waved. "Hey, Vekak. We are making your shields 30% stronger. It is going to be awesome." "Is it safe?" I asked. "Probably not. But it will work." I just shook my head and kept walking. Crazy. They were all completely crazy. And I had never been more grateful for anything in my entire life.